Hello. If you consider how the humans and the brain are kind of machines made to find meaning in their existence, and that we are also attuned to solving problems. I think most people, can solve a problem. Like, I'm hungry, therefore I eat. Boom, problem solved. Now, with this large amount of problem solving RAM, I'm not sure, computer stuff, a lot of bandwidth for problem solving, okay? Then you will start trying to solve problems with the amount of problem solving potentiality that you have. And solutions are pretty easy to come by typically. You just take like the Occam's razor idea of the simplest thing usually being the solution. Food, eat food. Water, drink water. Thirst, hunger, all that. And so if you're to expand it into more complex problems, like why am I here? Well, an answer to that could be that, well, I drove here. And I'm here because I took my car from the previous location I was to this location. And that's why I'm here. And then you could think about, a little more abstractly of why am I here? And well, I was born, I was conceived, and then from that creation sprang forth life that became me. And that's why I'm here. And then you can abstract it further of being like, why am I here? What is my purpose? What is my meaning? And the answer to that is billions and billions and billions of answers. There's you could answer it many different ways. And so you have to think, why am I trying to solve that problem? Well, because I'm a problem solving machine, and it's a question that I need an answer to. But not every question needs answers. Not every question has answers. Paradoxes typically don't have answers. It's whatever answer you decide it to be at that time. Because paradoxes are a good argument tool. If you have two sides of an argument, and whether the ship of Theseus is still the ship of Theseus, if you take all the boards off the ship and replace them with new ones over time, is it the same ship? You have yes or no. And then that's a good stance for creating arguments. But of course, the most probabilistic answer is somewhere in between. Maybe. Yes, but, no, but, it's nuanced. There's gray area. And that's a lot of life. There's a lot of gray area within life. And whenever you're solving these problems, you're looking for yes or no answers, not that gray area. But a lot of life is that gray area. A lot of problems you encounter don't have yes or no answers. They've got pros and cons, yes or pluses and minuses, changes, differences, many different things, whether your answer is, whatever it may be, beyond yes or no. But here's another perspective. You are always looking for problems to solve because you have that problem solving ability within you. Yet, the only problem you have are the ones that you create in your mind, I mean. Not from your actions, but instead what you take to be as a problem, something that needs changed. A problem is something that needs changed, right? There's a lot of different definitions for what a problem might be, but mostly to the human brain, whenever it's a problem, it's something that needs to be changed. Now there are like problems that test your knowledge of like, what is this, that is that, but that's not exactly what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about whenever you have like something failing, how to make it succeeding, or how to change something. Maybe you have something you're succeeding and you want it to fail. You know, it doesn't matter as long as it is that change that you're looking for. And so, this is where it gets a little tricky, because you are now searching for that change that you want to make. And so you're creating problems so that you can change things. And the only problems that you will find are internally. You have to think about this. Whenever you have these problems, it can be difficult to differentiate why. Why have I decided that this is a problem? And, well, as it turns out, it's because of something within you previously that decided that this needs to be changed. Values, beliefs, drama, it doesn't really matter. It's just something within you. As a person, in your creation, you find problem with this, and you want it changed. So, what to do about this? You are constantly searching for problems to solve, and many of these problems are ones that you imagine as needing change. So, a lot of it comes from assumptions. The assumptions that you make about what needs changed. And you can do a lot of research, and you can think about it really hard, and you can look at all different aspects of the problem. But change is tricky. Much like the ship of Theseus, things change over time. They develop, they evolve, they devolve. They are ever changing. But you want this change to happen now, or instigate change in the change that's currently going on. I don't know, meta change. I'm just making up things here. But overall, whenever you have these assumptions about something that needs to be changed, and you typically believe that what you're saying is wrong, that's a judgment. And this judgment comes from you. Everything comes from you. You are the perceiver and you are the receiver. You are always taking in things and exporting things out. You know, communication, energy. You're a machine. You're changing things into other things. Maybe you want to change something about yourself. That's only an assumption, a belief that you should change. And I think living a life where you are more nuanced in your ideas of what needs to be changed, what problems you see in the world, you should consider them more than that first idea of this is wrong. Instead, understand why you think it's wrong. Then understand the things that are around it, that created it, that made it so. And think in a more dynamic way. having a more open mind about why things are the way that they are and whether or not they need to be changed, and then you can get to the what to do about it. You don't go straight from the problem to what to do about it. You get the problem that you see, you consider it yourself. Why do I see this as a problem? Then you look at the factors that created that problem. Then you can do what to do about it. And I think this is a step in problem solving that people often forget, is that problems exist because other people solved problems before you. And there's always going to be new problems, and there's never not going to be something that you want to do about it. So, take it slow. You have a lot of time. Really consider the problems. You could say this is a lesson in problem solving of like your problem solving ability should be more nuanced than looking at like how it is for a homework problem where you have this information laid out to you and you're seeing all of the, variables and you need to rearrange them so that you can solve this problem. Life is unfortunately not that simple, and the mountains of homework that I've had to do related to that is kind of unrelated to a good problem solver. I'm getting the material, I'm understanding the minute details of the problem that I'm trying to solve that you are giving to me, but they don't teach you how to get that information. They don't tell you, like, how I am supposed to research to get this knowledge that is integral, or how to keep in mind that you don't know everything about the problem, that the things that you don't know, right? Those are tricky. Those are what we should be looking for, not for the problems to be solved themselves. And also, a little side tangent, less so for actual problem solvers and more of the people that have a problem. You and me, we have a problem. Not really, I just like saying that. But whenever you might, unfortunately, go into this online space, you might see a lot of complaints, a lot of ideas, a lot of opinions, a lot of beliefs portrayed by certain people. And among these beliefs, they are usually subverted into problems of like, why is this that way? Why did you do that? Why are you allowed to do that? You shouldn't be allowed to do that. And that goes from problem to belief that needs to be justified through problem. And you need to differentiate those. You need to get those away from each other. Your beliefs, while are like important to you, they should not be subverted through problems. You shouldn't be a problematic person by bringing these problems to people for them to actually not need to solve the problem. Solving the problem is not what you're looking for. You're looking for someone to back you up on your beliefs. And so you really need to be a little more clear and stop using problems as an avenue to express your beliefs, and instead just express your beliefs. You don't have to put it behind a problem that people think they need to solve. And I find this quite infuriating whenever people do it, because, I am a heavy abuser of problem solving, and I use it a lot in my life. And whenever people come to me with a certain problem, I am already thinking of a million different ways to solve that problem. And I've eventually come to realize that oftentimes when people come to you with problems, they are not problems. And also whenever you just see problems online, they are not problems. They are beliefs. And you might think, dude, everyone knows this. It's really simple, that people aren't looking for you to solve their problems. They're looking for you to listen. But I think you should just come to people with your beliefs, not with problems. Just lay out the facts. And of course, we all communicate differently, so I can't use this overgeneralization rule. But I guess if you are in similar circumstances to or, I don't know, are a bit of a problem solver, you can realize that people aren't looking for you to solve problems. People don't want you specifically, to solve problems. That's your own thing. That's what you do. That's what I do. We solve problems. But whenever people have problems, they're not looking for them to be solved by you. They're looking for you to listen. And they're not looking for your advice. They're looking for your empathy and connection. And as always, everything is a people thing, right? We are all people doing people things. And we all want people to, love us, trust us, listen to us. We want to be heard, and we want to be within our community of people because we love people and we need people. And whenever you kind of lose sight of that, things get tricky for you. And so you really need to be a people-oriented person. And now, while there might not be, I may know, a lot of non-people-oriented people, but even so, if you are incredibly socially awkward, you don't know what to say, and you think, if you have this idea in your head, that people are not for you, you're not a people person, you're wrong, okay? You're wrong. You need people. You're just looking at it differently than I. You're looking at it from some sort of perspective that I probably could understand and not agree with. And I could refute why this idea, this ideology about people is so harmful to you. Because you need people. Because I need people. Because people are the most important thing we have in life. And losing sight of that is just causing you to lose sight of the most important thing in your life. So find your people, even if you don't think you're a people person, even if you think you're a cold, hard robot with problem-solving capabilities, and you only look at the logic and the facts, and opinions and beliefs aren't for you, and you're not in the arts, and you don't do anything, creative. If you're just simply a logic machine, you still need people because you still are a person. And I want you to look for that. I want you to look for the people. I don't know if that's going to convince you, but within your future, consider, well, how should I phrase this? There are certain ways to phrase things that cause more change than other ways. And so I want you to be open to the possibility, to the idea, to consider that whenever you are engaged with a person, that is the most important thing to you in that moment, right? There's nothing else more important in that moment than the people that you are with. And your brain automatically kind of registers that because everything you're focusing on disappears beyond that person whenever you are truly engaged. And maybe you are not engaged a lot with people, but find those moments where you can be, where you can completely disengage from all other activities and simply be with another person. And that is the most beautiful thing you can do. Anyways, toodles.